Hello everybody, it is I'm So Cutie and we are back with another video. It has been just a little bit, but set 10 has been a little bit boring for me. I haven't gone to a lot of events for event recaps. I haven't really gone anywhere. I haven't really even played. I've been playing a lot of set champs. I've been playing Munster, OTK, and Amber Amethyst kind of gimmick list. Recently I played Green Blue at a set champ and I went undefeated. I got first place. That deck is really broken, but I had an opponent that could have almost beaten me. And he was new and he was really grounded and he really knew what was going on. And so it kind of enticed me to make a video of like, there's a lot of players that are almost a step away from becoming the above average player. They're a step away from winning their own set champs. They're a step away from top cutting a DLC. All it takes is really just a hard grain of information and kind of just like the steps you really got to keep in mind to keep going. With the new set reveals, by the way, I am planning to make another video. I'm already working on that slideshow for reviewing those cards. And with the next set, I will bring, obviously, brisk breakdowns. There's already a bunch of really cool stuff. Blue Steel looks really, really fun. Even with, like, Moana is just such a high skill cap card. There's that new Angel Steel card 4-drop. I think that is also really good. There's a lot of really cool stuff happening. So, with that, this list is in no particular order, except for the very, very first one that I'm going to go through. This very, very first one is something that I hold near and dear, and I do believe that it is the thing that separates the below average player to the average player even. There's a lot of times where I know I will just kind of win the game with my opponent based on maybe the second or third ink or the second or third drop or things like that, or just the way their mannerisms and things like that. Like, fundamentals in a card game are huge, and it's a little bit of a sour taste when it comes from a guy who doesn't really play card games besides Disney Lorcana. But fundamentals do win games. If you have more cards in your hand than your opponent, it's over, right? Like, resource management is so intricate because you don't really think of it. You don't think of cards as like 1s and 2s and 0s and 3s or whatever, but when, for example, a really good example is like a Blurple and Purple Steel matchup. When you're playing Purple Steel, you have your 1-drop, your 2-drop, your 3-drop, and your 4-drop, right? Those likely all come out before the Blurple player plays their very first card on the board, their 4-drop, right? But their 4-drop holds just infinitely more value because alongside the 4-drop is a 5-drop that likely takes out another one of your characters. So in reality, the board state is 2-2 unless you can use resources to manage that. And if you're using the resources in your hand to manage the board state, their hand is getting bigger. So are you making sure that after clearing the board, do you have a way to pivot and continue the game by drawing more cards? And the example that I give a lot of times when I say, like, I know that I'm going to win right away is, like, if my opponent goes ahead and inks, like, double Dumbos and a Woodchuck, and if they ink a Strength of a Raging Fire within the first 3 inks, I probably know that they're not putting a lot of value on their cards, and they're not anticipating the rest of the game, right? They're just thinking very closed window of, like, 3-turn game. When a lot of the times in Disney Lorcana, you have to realize how you're going to pivot from the situation that you're about to put yourself into or put your opponent into. If I attack your genie and leave 2 damage on it because I wanted to trigger a separate effect, now I have to realize that your genie can now be a catalyst for Belle, Cheshire, or this genie can sing into the unknown. And if you're going to do that, do I have the resources necessary to then flip the board state again and then gain my advantage again? Or am I just doing it very tunnel vision-y, very single-sided, and am I going to get punished for it and then I'm just going to lose the game? It's just very, really intricate things like that. So that kind of really covers the tempo and resource management. Another really a thing that really like stuck with me, especially with I believe it was either Brendan DeCandio or it was maybe Zan Said, but there's like an idea of like free interactions in the game. I learned this a really while back, so I don't know if people have even talked about this or maybe it's just stated in a different way, but there's a lot of times where you don't get punished for doing things. For example, if the opponent has a Tipo on the board, a really good example actually. If I have Webby shifted, right, and a super high value card, and my opponent has a Rafiki on the board, and they're gonna go to 2 ink, my opponent can use their 2 ink, 2-second turn to play Hypnotic on their Rafiki and take my Webby. But now I am now at 3 ink, higher ink than them, and I'm gonna be developing my Clarabelle. Or are they going to just ramp and deal with the Webby later? There's things where, like, my interaction is free. If I quest with Webby and they take a turn off to clear my Webby, I have now set up a plan in my head to pivot off that and continue the game state and punish them for making a very greedy play at answering my Webby. Whereas if they just ink to something else and allow me to get one Webby trigger, they are now in a better game state because they'll go their like Genie Elsa Demona, right? Those are like, and I'm using these examples because Blurple's probably like one of the most popular decks still. And it honestly goes with like almost every deck, like Purple Steel and things like that. Like if Webby can quest and only Captain Hook is on the board, are you gonna use your 2 ink turn to boost your Captain Hook to then have it die itself to this Webby and I get to develop a 3-drop for free and now you don't have things to sing strength? Or are you going to leave that Captain Hook untapped because you respect the idea that Webby's there? Or are you going to quest with the Captain Hook and like make my Webby either Chow but then punish it with a Huron or a Calhoun? Like there's so many things you can do, right? So again, free interactions are really, really, really important, and fundamentals are the difference between a player playing like Ruby Amber and beating you when you're on Blue Steel, right? It really goes a long way. Net decking is honestly really good. I understand people's want to be unique, but the thing for me especially was like the first thing I did was just copy and paste an Amber Steel list. And I played it and I played it and I played it and I learned it. I learned how it worked. I learned why it worked. I learned how to play it to its absolute best. And once I understood why it was consistent, when I understood why it worked the way it worked and why I understood it was one of the best decks in the format, then I adapted. And then I put tech cards. Then I was like, I'm going to cut Pete down by 1 because I'm finding it really consistent. I'm going to slot in Piglet. Or I don't want to slot in Piglet because Piglet is getting destroyed by this. I would much rather play Smee because when I develop Smee into whatever, then the Brawl is going to go here, right? Like there's so many little ideas that you start coming up with, but the very first thing that helps you so much is genuinely dropping your pride a little bit and playing the deck that the best player is playing right now, because you'll understand why decks work. And when you understand why one deck works, you'll be like, oh my gosh, like this core, for example, like blue-green, right? Blue-green, man, like when Clarabelle gets out, man, I'm drawing so much and it really feels like I'm just playing green. Okay, now you love that green core, put it in purple, put it in red, put it in steel. You know, like now you become very efficient at playing a single color core and vastly changing your card pool and being good. Like, that's just how it works. So this is a short one, but for sure, net decking is super important. It really is. It's just the way you have to play a card game. It kind of sucks. There was a time where, like, I don't want to play mirrors, whatever. Like, but it's just how it has to go. Like, mirrors are the way it goes. Like, prove that you are the better player by drawing better and making better decisions. There's going to be times where I promise, like, simply making decisions, there's decision markers in the game, and if you get them right, you'll play well. And again, for example, like this green-blue list, I'm pretty sure it was like 2 card difference from Fungus, and I was like, dang, green-blue is like really broken. But again, I understand how to play green. I've played green since set like 5. I've been playing green something, Amber Steel something. I've played like every deck in the game besides like Ruby Amber religiously, or Blue Steel. I don't think I've ever played Blue Steel actually. So that's like another big one, but I know how to play blue and I know how to play steel, so it's just how it goes. Make losing learning. It is very discouraging, I understand it, to go to a very competitive LGS or like even get on Lorcanito and try to climb ladder because all you're doing is losing. But like it might be tilting and aggravating, but don't think of it like that. Like at one point you're gonna be playing that player for your 10th time, but you're gonna beat him, and then they're gonna be like, why did I lose? Right? You're gonna make them think like, did they get lucky? No, like learn your deck, learn what makes you consistent. There are times in this set champ when I was again playing green blue, and there was times where I was like, man, I lost that game on the play. Like, what did I do wrong? Oh, maybe I should have opted for Donald. So like I'm learning the consistency of my deck, and I'm like navigating very difficult matchups where I'm like, okay, I'm gonna do Donald then Cindy this time because I think my hand advantage will be just a little bit larger. The 1 card, 2 card difference that I have is just absolutely insane. And now the matchup I win on the draw, or on the play, and then I go back on the draw, and I'm like, okay, on the draw, the likelihood is that I actually swap that because now I'm producing more ink rather than the card, and I already have the 1 additional card because I'm on the draw. It's just things like that. Like there's very, very small things that you subconsciously pick up on being better overall when you just keep losing. Losing is really good because losing means you understood when you made a very bad decision. And when you're really hesitant on making a decision, for example, like inking something to play something else, take that note down and go through the entire game, lose it or win it, and understand what decision was the decision that put you in a very bad spot or a very good spot. And you slowly just learn that. Like, I'm not saying you have to sit down and do notes, but you slowly learn that, and you genuinely have to put yourself in positions where you are going to lose, because if you don't lose, when you do lose in a major event, you're going to blame RNG, right? And a game, like a card game, is RNG. Like, you can draw really bad. It's very true. You can draw really bad. But again, there's really, really, really a lot of ways to navigate bad hands. There's times where I don't have ramp and I'm still taking blue steel to like a lockout 1914 game in my finals. It was like game 2 and I was on the draw and I missed ramp and I still almost won. So playing more. Again, this is kind of like the thing, like, don't be afraid to play more, don't be afraid to lose. I genuinely, like, playing a card game, the more you do it, the better you get at it. Like, playing things like Disney Lorcana is really similar for me to like going to the gym and like weightlifting. Like, associate your motion with intention. For example, this is why coaching kind of falls a little short sometimes for me, or like the idea of it, because they can teach you the best lines and navigating the best lines and navigating some suboptimal lines. But when you draw really bad or you draw really good and then you don't know exactly what to ink between your 4-drops, or you get really greedy and keep an uninkable 4-drop and things like this, like, you have no intention besides the, like, behind the motions. Like, you don't understand what you're trying to develop into, and maybe coaching is really in-depth, and I hope that is the way it is, because I don't really do it. Like, I don't partake in it, like, I don't get coached or anything, so, but I would say that putting intention behind motion is really good. Like, I'm playing Teep over Sale, right? Like, why do I play Teep over Sale? What am I trying to do? Am I doing it for cards? Am I doing it for uninkables in my hand? Or am I doing it to challenge the 1-drop? Or am I doing the Sale because I think that I'm going to develop into a bigger hand? Or am I doing the Sale because this is a grinding matchup? Am I doing develop because of this? Am I doing develop because of that? If I have additional ink, why am I doing the develop before I play my Namiri? Because develop gets to choose this, that. But why am I doing Kita before I develop my Cinderella? Something like that, right? Like, something crazy, right? There's also alternate plays. For example, you, like, for your like, chances of drawing the same 7 in a tournament are super low. So knowing how to mulligan is also a really big thing, and knowing again, consistency and counts of your deck is really important. Alternate play lines, alternate things like that. So playing more just gets you comfortable, right? And playing more against people who you mirror with, or people who are just better than you, and you know that they're better than you, they'll teach you new things. Like, they'll teach you a new interaction, they'll teach you a new play line. They'll say, hey, if you would have played this Hades over this Demona, you probably would have still netted cards and removed one of my cards. But instead you give us both cards because you want how to use all your ink. Sometimes being ink efficient like that is okay, because, like, just because you can get to 6 ink and play Demona doesn't mean you should get to 6 ink and play Demona. Like, if you have 5 ink and all you have is Hades and Demona in your hand, why not just play the 5 into Hades and see what happens, and then still just draw into your next turn and develop something else? Or with the Hades, if it's almost guaranteed that you draw cards, then draw cards, ink, sing something, and then next turn play Demona. There's just a lot of ways to make things that are two-sided, one-sided. So don't always think that you have to, like, jump to things. And again, this all comes from playing more. Really, really, really think of it as like working out or reading or running or whatever you do, playing chess, anything. The more you do it, the better you'll get at it. And again, the more you lose, the better you get at winning. This is a really big thing, actually. This is probably like second in importance. Slowing down and calming down is super important in Disney Lorcana. It reduces misplays, and it lets you consider all your inks and stuff. But the biggest thing ever for me was controlling the game pace. I used to play red blue for sets 6, 7, and 8. No, 5, 6, and 7. 5, 6, and 7. No, 6, 7. 6, 7, and half of 8. I think it was before they banned Hiram because then I swapped to green, purple discard. But playing aggro is very aggravating, and playing control decks is very aggravating because it feels like things are happening almost instantaneously. They're getting to 20 instantaneously. They're clearing my board instantaneously. Nothing's happening, right? Sometimes, especially if there's time on the board, it's okay to sit down, shuffle your cards a little bit in your hand, ink, really think about what you're inking, and then play something. Think about what's going to happen next, and then pass the turn. Because if you do this, like, okay, you have all these Daisy Ducks on the board. Ink, play this, go. Ink, play this, go. Oh my gosh, I'm already writing 14 on my notepad. It's already over. Like, controlling the game pace puts you in a much different position where you understand that things aren't actually happening that fast in the game, and it really lets you decide on what you're going to do next better. Because again, if you're playing an aggro matchup, you're going to be done regardless. If you're both slow playing, you're going to be done regardless in like 30 minutes, right? It's fine. Like, take your time. Take a 35-second turn. 35 seconds is a lot. Take a 35-second turn to relax and think of what's going on. Again, if people are just drawing super hot and it's the first game of 3 and they're playing like insane, consider your emotional state. Relax. Think of things. Being tilted when they're getting just really good hands will just lead you making more of these plays. Like, if he's getting Donald into, or like Cindy into Donald into Clarabelle into Double Your Welcome. I hate this. Well, okay, now you know their deck. It's okay. Like, can you mull for like Pete? Can you mull for Ursula or Mowgli? Can you mull into a way to be able to then pivot off this big thing? Can you remove this Clarabelle? Can you put Ward? Just think about a lot of things that's going on. And again, considering steps 2, 3, and 4 is a little bit deeper, it's kind of what I've already gone through. Like, playing cards and knowing what's going to happen next is the biggest thing. For example, a really big example I would say is with Blurple Mirrors. This is because I played Blurple for the beginning of set 9 when rotation happened, and in Mirrors, right? If I was on the play, I knew that somebody would play Iago, right? When I played Genie or Dumbo on 4, I knew that the mirror would want to play Iago every time. So I played 1, They Never Came Back, and 4, Hypnotic Strengths. And in my mulligan, I would always make sure I kept 1 copy of Hypnotic or the 1 copy of They Never Came Back, in case the most popular deck at the time was Blurple. And I knew that if I was going to sit blind in front of somebody, I would need to keep that card. Every single time that I played a mirror, they had Iago, I cleared it, I snowballed. Perfect. If the mirror was on the play and I was on the draw, what was going to happen if I played Genie to their Genie or Genie to their Dumbo? I would get Elsa'd, right? And if Elsa is going to happen, what do I want to have in my hand? I want an Elsa to hit their Genie, or I want the Belle to hit their Genie. They want to sing Second Star to the right. So after I develop the 5-drop, I need something on my turn 6 that is able to either exert and chow, because I do not want them to sing Second Star. If they play TikTok, I need to understand that I'm not going to be able to interact with TikTok for a little bit. So what am I going to develop? Am I going to double ink to a Hades? If I get to Hades first, are they going to Hades me? If they Hades me, they put me in Hades range. So should I not ink this turn and play Hades later? There's just a lot of things. Like, are you forcing them to Hades? If you're forcing them to Hades, don't Hades, because then they'll just Hades your Hades. If they Hades for you, don't ink that turn, because you'll go to 7 healthily and have more cards in hand. Things like that. Things like that are super in depth. Things like that only come from playing more. Things like that only come from understanding what exists in the game, right? Something that really helped me too, and the very last thing that I want to talk about today is watching and understanding games. Something that helped me when I was like pushing my one of my peaks, it was just watching. Like, go to DLC, dude. DLC anything, right? We're in rotation now, but so what happened? DLC Richmond and DLC. What was the first DLC? I went to it. Milwaukee. Wow. But literally, go back and start watching from round 5 and up. Round 5, and then watch all of day 2 and watch all the top cut and understand what's happening. Criticize, why did this player ink this? Is he dumb? And then if he gets punished for it later, now you understand, don't ink it in that matchup, right? You learn optimal play lines, you understand the reasoning and the learning, and you just have so much matchup navigation. Like, if, for example, like watching green blue against dogs, if like, what is this green blue guy doing? Man, he pocketed triple sails, dude. Like, it's just one of the best ways that I've done it with learning. I remember before, what was it? I think I was watching PPG Orlando. I think PPG Orlando was the very first one. No, it was not PPG Colorado. Denver. Colorado. I don't know. I was watching one of the PPGs. It was the very first PPG. I had a very competitive 2Case event the next day, and I was watching PPG, and I was watching the green-purple discard, Jordan Serio, top cut matches, and then I was watching matches in the Swiss, in the high rounds of Swiss, and I understood what people were trying to go for. I understood more cards. I understood what could exist. I was like, oh, this is how you play this deck. Oh, this is how you do this. Oh, wow, he's doing it really well, but I would much rather do this. And I went on to win the next day, so it's good. Criticizing is always your best friend. Even though you think a player is really good, say, hey, why'd you do this? That doesn't make any sense to me. Criticizing makes you learn. I promise. Those are just some of the things that I did to get a little bit better at Disney Lorcana. I really do hope this brings a player up just a little bit. I actually have kind of just concluded coaching my very first student. My very first student got top 8 at CCQ Arizona. So happy dad moment, right? Like, I didn't really help him that much. we played a lot with fundamentals. We played a lot through net decking, made a lot of cookie cutter things. He lost a lot playing me. I told him what to do differently. He played a lot. He kept playing down. He slowed down. He watched the best. And he worked really hard for that, but hopefully I can make a video with him very soon. I do want to review some of the new cards in this next set. It's actually very exciting. There's some really good cards out there. But again, thank you guys very much for sticking around. Thank you guys very much for not unsubscribing. I haven't lost any subscribers. I think I gained one, actually. So, thank you guys very much. I will see you guys in the next one.